Hello, everyone. Welcome to this masterclass by HEC Paris. Well, actually by Mathilde Guillou, who is the pedagogic director of this program in organization coaching here at HEC Paris. So thank you very much for taking the time to be with us today. For those of you who don't know, HEC Paris is a business school based in Paris. We are very happy to have been consistently ranked one of the top business schools, well, the #1 business school in Europe for several years in a row by the Financial Times. And our executive education programs, of which this program is part of the catalogue, are ranked second in the world by the Financial Times. So once again, thank you very much for being with us today and for taking the time. I appreciate that some of you are in different time zones, so thank you once again. So yes, as I said, I'm joined by Mathilde Guillou, who is the pedagogic director of the program, and shortly Mathilde will begin this masterclass. So if you can move to the next.
Yeah, sure.
There we go. That's our delightful faces for everyone to see. So you have our contact details there too, but you'll have my contact details again a little bit later on. You know, for any questions that we don't get through today, or for any further questions about the program, you can contact myself. So yeah. Right. Yes. So essentially, the point of the program, and Mathilde will expand a little bit on this later, but the point of the program is to help form you guys, to train you guys as organization coaches, to assist organizations in navigating essentially the modern challenges that organizations face today. So with, of course, digital transformation, having a multicultural teams, but not just teams, of course, various stakeholders internally and externally. And of course, to navigate crises such as, you know, the pandemic that we've all been living through for the last forever. You know, essentially, it's designed to help you help organizations navigate this with agility and by capitalizing on their existing human capital. So as I said, Mathilde will expand a little bit on this later. So we'd like to make today interactive, as interactive as possible. So the first question we have for you guys is, where are you calling from? So you can write the country and the city in the chat box. You know, the program is always very international. The participants normally come, if we have 20 participants, normally every participant is from a different country. So this really adds to, you know, the richness of the learning experience too. And so I imagine that there are a number of you calling from or connecting from different countries. And so we're hoping that this will be representative of the typical cohort that we have on the program. So hi, Alex from Germany. So the team is also international. Anuja, who is the program manager, is from India. I'm British. Mathilde is French. The program is obviously delivered in English. So, you know, a lot of participants on the program are also working in English as a second language. So there's no stress there. We're not expecting you to have you know, the Queen's English or anything like that. As long as you're comfortable communicating and exchanging in English, then that's perfect. Okay, so far we just have Alex, who's told us where he's from, but I'm sure there are other people connected. So we'll see as we go on. But I think for now, I believe I'm going to hand over to Mathilde if the next slide is what I'm expecting.
Yes.
Yeah. So thank you, Mathilde. I'll hand over to you.
Thank you, Jonathan, for this introduction. So the purpose of this masterclass is to give you some insights about what we do in HEC Paris in the executive education at the coaching school, because we do have this field of practicing and research about organizations coaching. And it happens that we developed this program a couple of years ago because we saw an increase in the practice of this organization coaching approach. And we built a specific path for people willing to train themselves and to become organizations coaches. And this is the reason why we offered you some insights here during this masterclass. And I think that what have been driving us in building this program and sharing with the different participants is that we can see that our paradigm are evolving. And the organization we are living in and the companies we are living in, they do deploy the strategic marketing, financial and logistical planning things in a different world than the one we live in today. And actually everything that we do right now, even the slightest event in one part of our world can affect people's life on the other side of the planet. And this is something that we have all experimented a couple of months ago and still, because with the pandemic, we have seen how huge some impacts could be in different places in the world when they started on the other side of the planet. And all those corporations, those non-governmental organizations, the startups, the family business, everybody is concerned. But some of them still project themselves in the whole world, while we need actually to project them in the future. And at the same time, the overall situation globally in the world invite us to better accept uncertainty. And uncertainty is something that all CEOs, managers, and leaders would have to better accept and better manage in the future. And to do that, we believe that the coaching stance is one of the answers, and especially when it comes to collective approach. And this uncertainty generates anxiety. And in the world we're living in, when this anxiety raise, it becomes something which spread all over the collective and all over the organizations and the corporations, etc. Then everybody moved to autopilot mode. But this autopilot mode no longer works, actually. And it creates more and more chaos associated with this anxiety. And people in the different organizations sometimes don't understand what they are doing. There is no more sense of purpose in what they do. They miss link and relationships. And that's why we believe that there is a way to engage globally and collectively. And this is what makes the difference between what we call individual coaching stance and a collective coaching stance. The fact that we have been working as well remotely made us more vulnerable, and reconnecting people becomes something extremely important, even more, I think, that it has been in the past years. And just being with people and being together is sometimes odd today, which is quite strange because we used to be together. But at the same time, this distance created some stories in the mind of people. And when it comes to reconnect people in organizations, you need sometimes to envision new paths than the one that you were using previously. And organizations need as well to learn to live in a permanent state of renewal. Today, the transformation is something permanent, is something which is always engaged in everybody. We are permanently in the transformation ourselves. And the climate and the social stakes put us in a situation where we need to accelerate our apprehension of what means a non-linear world. So all of those changes are clearly some signs that we are evolving in a new paradigm, and we need leaders, managers, and new change agents and transformers who know some paths which may not be traditional, but who face this uncertainty, this vulnerability, and this anxiety sometimes in some organization. So how to make gold with that and how to move forward when we are in such situation? It's a good question, actually, because the world of coaching is evolving. And this evolution after individual coaching, team coaching, now organizations coaching, we could ask ourselves the question about what's the next step? And the next step could be ecosystemic coaching, for example. This is something that we investigate as well during the program, and how we can Also integrate some stakeholders which could be external to the organization, and how do this entire value chain of people getting connected together actually are in the same matrix in a way. And how could we envision some collaboration with everybody and all those guys when it comes to big organization where people are thousands of people? How do you envision change and transformation, and how do you make it sustainable? So the question is the one that we answer during the program. And to do that, we insist on each and every individual coaching stance, because it starts by a personal journey of transformation. And this is what people are looking for in this program. They would like to get in contact with transformation and how to drive this. But at the same time, they understood very soon in the program that it starts by them. So it's a permanent renewal journey for everybody joining the program. And it's clearly about how do we make it collective, and how do we support, sustain, help the organizations that are facing those challenges today. So in HEC, we do have a definition of organizations coaching, of course, and I'm going to share it with you today. So at least you have a better idea of what we do in this program and how do we investigate the different dimensions of this definition. We see the coaching of organization as a practice, and this is extremely important because this is not a theory. This is really something that you practice, and it's a practice of accompanying the organization. And the organization, we understood it as a complex, organized, and limited system. But we also believe that this organization can find the answers within itself and the resources to face the question or the problem they encountered. So we truly believe and deeply believe in the resources of our customers to find the solutions by themselves, which is definitely a coaching stance. So we don't come with model, we don't come with plug and play tools. We define a dedicated path for each customers, depending of their maturity, their value, their mindset, their culture. And we make kind of tailor-made pathways for them. It's a haute couture, I would say, approach, and maybe the French touch here. But clearly, the coaching of organization really aims at strengthening the organization's self-awareness. And the purpose is to increase accountability of people and autonomy of the organization toward their own challenges. So it's definitely a coaching stance. It's definitely an accompaniment. And this is something where we have also specific skills in terms of design, because we design this pathway. We have a specific architecture to bring the companies and the organization to where they want to go. So if organizational coaching were the temple, it would be built on 5 postulates, like 5 pillars. And in HEC, we have those 5 pillars as basic fundamental of our approach. And our theoretical assumptions here, our 5 major theoretical assumptions here are that an organization is a living system. This is not a machine. This is made of human beings, and it can die, and sometimes only survives thanks to its ability to learn and adapt. And today, some organizations don't know how to learn and to adapt themselves to the new world and to some new paradigm, because learning means that you have to first unlearn sometimes. And this is very difficult when you are full of prejudice or full of preliminary concept that you have already been living in. So the adaptation is not something easy. And when it's not easy for one person, you can imagine how complex it could be if you take a large number of people working together. We also truly believe that an organization is a place of construction of a common sense of purpose. And if you take it as an hypothesis of work, there is always a place to find some sense of purpose in an organization, in a team, and in business units, in every part of the organization. And most of the time today, the sense of purpose for those organizations needs to be redefined. It has not been challenged, even though the pandemic has changed the game. It has sometimes not been renewed or reviewed by the people. They just are trapped in something they were designing in the past, and which something doesn't make sense today. So they have a room for improvement there, and there are some approach to help them in this direction. We also truly believe as an assumption that an organization is a complex system, which means that this program of organizations coaching in HEC is largely looking at complexity and how do we deal with complexity. First, starting by ourselves, because we are complex people and it needs to be understood as it is. And if you multiply this to hundreds or thousands of people, you need to change yourself and feel it in another scale. So an organization can provide a lot of strengths. Okay, it's like an engine. It's like something that you put into movement, and the cooperation for that is crucial. But the question is, how do you create the conditions for cooperation? How do you face sometimes violence or aggressivity or madness? Okay, how do you do when in an organization people are under threat? And how do you give hope and a place to contribute to better cooperation? That's clearly some new questions. We were looking at some interesting studies about mental health and how this is a key question for the future. The question is, how do you create new conditions for people to cooperate? And in organization today, I would say accelerated by the remote impact of the pandemic, this has been crucial question that needs to be put on the table if you want to build something sustainable. And finally, an organization for us has an unconscious side. And there are a lot of irrational phenomena that we can observe when we are trained and skilled for that. And sometimes it's useless just to bring rational things on the table, and you need to take parallel paths to get in contact with the organization. And this is what we learn in HEC Paris Coaching School. So what it is and what it is not. Clearly in this program, what you will find is our own beliefs in HEC Paris, which means that organizations coaching is a practice, as I said, and you will see the program is designed for the participants to really test in real life, what does it mean? And this approach shares humanistic origins with coaching approach, of course, because this is coaching. And we believe in the value of the client, as we said. We think the client has the resources and the system knows what is best for them. We believe as well that the client has the answers and the resource they need to deal with their issues. And it's just to make them in the right cooperation setup for them to contribute to their own problematic. What organizations coaching is not, this is not a new theory of organization. This is not a new management model. This is not an on-the-shelf key miracle approach or something that you will just design like this and it will work. It's something where you would have to put some skin in the game as a coach. And this is something which makes a difference in the different coaching approach, because organizations coaching is definitely a place where we work as a team of coaches. We don't work alone. We always work with other coaches. And this is this systemic reflection that we use between the team of coaches and the organization, which is extremely useful and which help actually the customers as well to see maybe things that were not visible. So it's not defined, it's not defining a perfect laid out path, as I said. This is not something which is duplicable one place to another. It really means that you are adapting yourself and the coaching team is adapting themselves to the situation to do the best and to support the organization the best from where they are and in the direction they want to take. So it's not a single school of thought as well. We don't have any dogmatic approach here. We truly believe in pluridisciplinarity. So we have different source of influence, and we leverage as many new research as we can to improve the experience of what we are all living when we get together with an organization through a transformation project. To give you an idea of the reason why organizations coach are called for, it could be many different situations. It could be in retail, it could be in finance, it could be in supply chain, it could be in marketing, it could be in commercial or business. Any kind of specialty in the organization can be the place for an organization's coaching, HR, of course. But there is always an intention to bring further and to increase the level of awareness of a collective for them to step up and somehow to get to know them better and to create new things together. And that's, I think, one of the aim of the commonality of all the project that we are supporting. So here is a sentence of Margaret Mead, which we love very much in this program, because this is exactly the spirit of what we do, actually. And most of the time, an organization's coaching project starts like this. It starts with a very small number of people, very committed, thoughtful, who are invested in a change, and we are willing to support organizations' transformation or evolution towards their future. And that's very interesting to see how such small starts can bring a lot in a very big scale and quite fast as well when it's managed under this approach. So how do we do in HEC, and what does our approach of the program look like? Maybe some insights for you now to get back on the ground and to come back to some tangible things. Actually, if you join us, we will have different phases in the program to propose you. So you will, of course, acquire the new skills, the approach, and the tools that you need as organizations coaching. And of course, as Jonathan said, it's global, it's multicultural, because the group that you may reach and the cohort that you may be part of is definitely multicultural. You will be able to compare your experiences and your practices, because some of you are already certified coach and some others are not. So you will be able to bring your knowledge as well, and to see what are the gaps between what you were doing or practicing and what this practice is requesting. And you will have to apply as well all those skills immediately, which means that, as I said, we learn by practicing, and you will be assigned as a group of coaches into a company or NGO that you will have to find yourself to deploy an organization's coaching project. So it's very much experimental, and all the people who are in the cohort today do have some missions in different organizations, and they do support CEOs or COMEX members or leaders of BUs in their own journey. So maybe here, what could be interesting for us to know you better is what is your objective if you were to reach out to us and if you were to join? What could be your own objective in such a program?
So again, feel free to write your answers in the chat box. So this can be, you know, a short-term, medium-term, long-term objective.
Mm-hmm. Not that much objective, guys. Interesting.
Yeah.
In coaching, it's better to have an objective, actually. It's easier to start the journey.
maybe it takes some time to write down the objective.
Yes, indeed. So you would have time to complete this, but I think it's important that if you join, you have an idea of the reason why you join and what could be your personal learning objective in this approach, and what are you participating for actually. I think it's important to think about that at the beginning, and especially because some of you may be in transition, some of you may be already in place in a job position where they want to improve or increase their impact, for example, or some of you may want to have new skills in order to become a consultant in organizations coaching or whatever. But I think it's important that you think about what could be your own objective in this program if you are interested in, also to give sense to your action in this journey. All right. Good. Here we go. Maybe a bit of explanation, very concrete details. So there is a small mistake in the date of this page. Sorry for that, because actually the program is starting on October 26th, but it's written further on. But just for you to understand how we build it. Actually, you do have 6 modules in this program, and all those modules are happening on site at HEC Le Château. And everybody join every time for each module. There is only one module which is a remote module, module 2, which is distance learning coaching, which is an equivalent of 3 days. And actually you are able to get connected to each other in between the on-site module. So overall, it's a 20-day programs, and you do have this famous assignment, collective assignment to deploy in a company or in an organization. And the program ends up after 1 year, and the certification happened in September 2022. And we go through all of the different ingredients that are needed to practice and to be a good practitioner in organizations coaching. And what is delivered is certificate of organizations coach from HEC Paris. All right. So I wish you may have some question, and if this is the case, please don't hesitate to write it down on things that you may want to go deeper, or some areas that you want to explore, and we can answer as well. But I think it's important that you have the idea of how is it built and what we do in each stage of the program. So the group which is formed, so each cohort is also a laboratory. And you need to know that we use the group to leverage many of the concepts and the approach and the tools and the methodologies that we deploy. The group is the first laboratory of what we mean by organizations coaching. And we do use very much people in the group to experiment directly within the group what is happening in this new world of coaching, new approach of coaching. All right. So maybe Jonathan, to give a sense of who is participating in this program.
Sure, yeah. So this is, not an exhaustive list of profiles that we would accept on the program, but it's just, a short list of the typical kind of profiles that we see. So we do see a number of, already certified coaches who are already practicing coaching, maybe on a one-to-one basis, who now want to expand their services to include organization coaching. Again, senior management and C-suite professionals who need to obviously, how would you say that, help or drive the organization through various changes. And then, mid to senior managers, consultants. Another profile we sometimes see are HR managers. But again, I mean, these are not totally exhaustive. And I think, the main criteria is to have several years of working experience, in an organization. And Mathilde also mentioned earlier NGOs, so it's not exclusively for-profit organizations. All organizations can benefit from coaching. So essentially, if you have any doubts about the suitability of your profile for the program, you can send me your CV or your LinkedIn profile in the first instance for a first kind of assessment, and then we can have a telephone call about the profile, but about the program, and really, as Mathilde mentioned too, your objective. What is your professional objective, your professional project? How does it fit into this program, and how can this help you achieve that? So yeah, and I think
thank you, Jonathan. So what you mentioned is key, actually. The fact that everybody who has an experience in organization is welcome, and most of the time we do have coaches, already certified coaches, but we have also people who haven't been going through any kind of coaching program so far, but who have developed a coaching stance as a manager, as a leader, as a CEO, and they are very much interested to support now at a bigger scale this approach, which is really an innovative approach in the world of coaching, and which is recognized worldwide, I would say, because we have people from everywhere. From every country, even crossing the Atlantic Sea every 3 months to join. So that's really, that's really a place extremely specific. I would say it's quite sophisticated approach for people who are really willing to innovate in their coaching stance, and especially for a big collective. So if,
so with that, I mean, if you want to share with us what's your current position, that would be good for us to know too. So yeah, again, please use the chat box. Don't be shy. And again, as I said, if you have any doubts about your current position, then we can discuss that for sure.
All right. So don't hesitate to join, I think, Jonathan, for that, because it will be very helpful for you also to assess where you stand and how this could be beneficial for you. It could really make a difference in a career. It could really make a difference in your own personal path as well. So I think you are more than welcome to contact Jonathan and to see we will find a place for you for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
In the next cohort.
I think what Mathilde said is true as well. If I think there's also sometimes a question of confidence. If you're not a qualified coach already, then it's likely that if you've been working in an organization that you've had some kind of experience of even mentoring staff members or supporting more junior staff members, for example. So anything like that, can qualify as some kind of mentoring experience, which this program will then help you, develop on. So yeah, I mean, please just feel free to contact me. So you have my contact details here. Essentially, if you're interested, the admissions process is that you share a CV or a LinkedIn profile with me. We have a first preliminary interview by telephone. I use the word interview, but it's very much a conversation. Again, to go through your profile, to answer your questions about the program, both in terms of content, but also in terms of logistics. It is a multi-module program spread over a year. So, often people have logistical questions too, which is perfectly normal. So we can go through all of those things. And then if that looks good, then we would invite you to complete an online application. So we have a platform where you'll essentially write down your motivations, rather like a covering letter to express your motivations for doing the program, how it fits into your professional project, also what you can bring to the program, You know, the experience, the curriculum is incredible and very innovative, but you also, as participants, bring a lot to the program. You learn a lot from each other. So we're interested to know what you think you can bring to the program. And then the final step, once you've submitted that, will be I don't know if Mathilde, if you do telephone or video interviews, but essentially the last step is an interview with Mathilde, again, just to double, triple check the motivations and the profile. And that's it. A very simple, streamlined 3-step process. Of course, all done online or by phone, given the international nature of the program. And so I think that brings our presentation to an end. As
Yes.
Mathilde said, the teaching begins on the 26th of October. As I said, if you have any questions at all, you can contact me. You have my email there. I'll also send everybody a replay of the presentation tomorrow with the brochure and the dates, so you have all that information. So yeah, I don't know if you want to add anything, Mathilde, before we wrap up.
I would like to thank you, actually, the participants, for joining us and listening to the masterclass. I hope they were interested in what we offer, and the fact that we will be super happy if they want to join in October to have this journey, this amazing journey with us as well. Like everybody going through is transforming from the first day. So that's very, that's beautiful to see, and that's amazing to look at this evolution all over the year. So yeah, I hope we answered all the questions, even though there were not that much, but I hope that it was clear enough for everybody. So thank you very much for that. Thank you, Jonathan, for handing up, and thank you, Claire, that you don't see, but who is behind the scene, and for organizing this.
Yeah, thank you very much, Claire. And yeah, thank you, Mathilde, for your wisdom, sharing your wisdom with us. And yeah, if you want more of Mathilde's wisdom, then feel free to contact me. And yeah, we do have several months before the program starts, and there are still some places available. So please feel free. But once again, thank you very much for taking the time to join us. And maybe we'll see you on the campus of HEC in October.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, everybody.
Bye, everyone.